Hey guys, what's up? It's Finch here. Today we're going to be discussing the bans and NU. I wanted to separate this out from the UU and RU bans because NU was the tier that got the mega tier shift this time around, as you guys might remember from my tier shift video and the recent tier shifts. But in addition to that, NU is a tier that I probably hold a bit more near and dear to me than UU and RU because I'm an ex-tier leader and a current council member in that tier, and there's just a lot of great stuff going on in that community. I know that maybe it's kind of seen as like the little child of UU and RU, a bit more numerous communities, if you will, but I love NU, and I really advise going out there and trying it out. And in addition, because I love advocating for other content creators, my guy Rabia, Lord Rabia on YouTube, he put up a nice video, 24 minutes, just going in depth on all the Pokemon, why he voted what he did, and whatnot. Definitely subscribe to his channel. He puts out a lot of great NU oriented content. Would advise checking it out. I see NU videos most days. It's a lot of great stuff. He streams sometimes. He's really dedicated to NU, and unfortunately, I'm really only to get out like one NU video maybe every week or so. So, if you want to see more NU, check him out. Robbie is a great friend of mine. So yeah, but anyway, let's get into the vote itself. We voted on Lucario, Arctozolt, Poltergeist, Durant, Toxtricity, Slurpuff, Lanoon, Indeedee, Beware, Heracross, Sharpedo, Porygon Z, Tyrantrum, Shiftry, and Drought. So first off, we're gonna start from the bottom. Shiftry and Drought, you might notice, banning both obviously doesn't make much sense. Because Shiftry really isn't very good without Drought, and Drought teams haven't really been proven to be super broken without the presence of Shiftry. However, myself and others personally believe that Drought was broken. I'm just going to go down to Eternaly's justification. So, Drought is the last ban on the slate, and arguably the most controversial. Ultimately, most people could agree upon the fact that Sun in its current state was far too powerful for the tier, which I very much agreed with, Shiftry being one of the main Pokemon, but still, however, the majority of council agreed that with Shiftry out of the equation, Sun has far too many broken abusers to push it over on competitive territory as well. So basically what we're trying to say is, even if we ban Shiftry, Sun is still a problem. And we have to ban multiple Pokemon, probably 3 or 4 Pokemon, even more potentially, I don't know. So Drought teams alone restrict team building to a degree that we aren't comfortable with when that playstyle is just so good and so consistently offensively potent. It's hard. Enables a lot of strategies and wall breakers that require a very small pool of specialized checks to keep in check. Checks to keep in check. I guess that checks out. Wow, I need sleep. I need to stop talking. But thus it was deemed to be too strong for NU once again. So yeah, unsurprising there, but just want to cover because that's kind of a twofer there. But anyway, let's get back to the top. So Lucario is a big one. Personally, I voted ban on it, and it was unanimous actually, which doesn't really surprise me. Lucario was banned to its ridiculous combination of power, boosting options, and wall breaking potential from both sides of the damage spectrum. And yeah, that sums it up super nicely. It can pretty much run whatever it wants to, and it's going to hit like a complete truck. It goes without saying. Ultimately, it was deemed too strong for the tier, as its 2 best sets had the ability to destroy each other's checks, while being able to run the AOA set to lure them, it really could do whatever it wants. It has a move to cover every single Pokemon in the tier, and it doesn't even require to go too far out of the way. Ghost type shit with dark moves, the fighting plus potentially steel stab, although really fighting stab is strong. You got priority moves, and you can hit from both sides of the spectrum. It's a Pokemon that clearly never belonged in NU. Really that simple. Arctozolt, something that I personally didn't vote ban on, as you can see. Lucario, I agreed with the council's rationale overall as a collective, but for Arctozolt, personally, I wanted to see more from teams with it. I wasn't too sure if it was ban worthy yet, and I was kind of on the fence about it. Truth be told, I kind of wish I had abstained, but I wasn't really worried about it a ton because I ran priority, and also I used some Sun teams, so I didn't struggle with it as much. But admittedly, if you weren't prepared for it, much like Lucario, it was going to completely ravage your team. So yeah, Arctozolt suffers from the same issues that made it ridiculous in NU a few months ago. Stab Bolt Beak is obscenely strong, and Underhail it completely annihilates anything that isn't immune to very bulky and resistant to, while also beating everything. So yeah, I mean, Hail, it does make it quite good. It's also, it's strong and the coverage is good. Hit through most ground types, which are immune. I guess you could see Lantern, but it's really all there is to it. But yeah, no, I definitely think Arctozolt is going to be very good. I don't know if it would have been broken, but it seems that majority of people voted ban. I mean, both tier leaders, Eternally and Roses, did, so fair enough. Next up was Poltergeist. I was not ready to ban it. I believe only Lax and Realistic Waters were. It's definitely a really strong sleeper with stored power, with Shell Smash, of course, Shadow Ball, Gauge Drain, those kind of coverage moves. But it's still super fragile, and a lot of things can just hard wall out some Dark types, for example. And I think it's kind of cheesy at best. I think it will ultimately be a good Pokemon that you have to prepare for, but not necessarily broken, much like it used to be in, say, UU and RU. So yeah, Following everyone's favorite Ghost Teapot, we have Durant. Durant, I personally voted ban on, and I think everyone voted ban on. Yeah, no, there are no exceptions. It was super fast, and if it hit its moves, it was completely unwallable. Really, all there is to it. Personally, I thought Life Orb was the best, but I saw banned a couple times. I didn't actually see Scarf because it was super fast, as is faster than pretty much all the Pokemon we're discussing, besides maybe like, well, yeah, all of them. It's the fastest one of the bunch, but there are some Pokemon here that boost your speed or in priority, so it's worth noting. But anyway, it was too restrictive. You realize run one of a very, very, very small pool of Pokemon that can counter it, and even then, with right fourth coverage, maybe potentially hit them. So it just goes without saying, Durant had no place in NU, and I mean, honestly, it's probably going to end up too strong for RU once RU solidifies the gas, but we'll get there when we get there. We'll cross that bridge one day. Heracross is another fighting type like Lucario that's very strong, but take out the coverage reliance and how fragile it was, and add the fact that Heracross has some nice resistances, like for example, dark types and ground types, and that it really can shrug off, and couple that with the fact that it has super strong stabs and the ability to run spikes and the Guts Flame Orb set. Moxie set's obviously very good, like Choice Scarf Moxie, but even without that, the Gut set is super strong. It's arguably comparable to things like Conkeldurr and RU, and it goes without saying that these Pokemon are really hard to deal with. Nothing really switching to Facade, Close Combat knockoff combinations, and of course also has Mega Horn Stab, Sewage Dance, etc. So yeah. If you want to run like Colbur Berry, Max Defense, Clefairies, or a bunch of Fairy types in every team, then you're going to struggle. And even then, they're not foolproof. So, all in all, I don't think that Heracross had any place in the metagame, and I'm glad that we ultimately decided to ban it. It was a pretty close vote, I think. 2 people voted do not ban, but they also voted do not ban a ton. I believe it was Roses and Davin, and I think they just wanted to see more of the metagame, which I completely understand. But anyway, yeah, it goes without saying. As for some Pokemon that didn't get voted ban, we see Toxtricity, Slurpluff, and Lanoon. So I'll go through them one by one. Personally, I voted ban on Toxtricity. I thought that it just hit super hard on every side of the spectrum, special attacking, and run shift gear. Although I kind of preferred special shift gear more than the Drain Punch that we see in other years because there just aren't as many Drain Punch targets. But still, either way, you can make it work. But there are some things that are able to hard check it. At least I guess hard counter it. I'd say more check it, depending on what it ran. And in addition to that, it was super fragile, so there are ways to take advantage of it, not let it set up when using offense in the metagame is super turbulent. So I completely get why people voted not ban. As for Slurpluff, I didn't vote to ban it either, but I think eventually cheesy sets like Belly Drum with Unburden are going to be problematic in the metagame. I think it's kind of a ticking time bomb as to when. It just didn't really get many setup opportunities in the current metagame, so much like Toxtricity, it's being held back into tier for the time being. Lanoon's tough because a lot of people are using in DD Psychic Drain teams and also specific ghost types to keep it in check, maybe. But I mean, once it gets that Belly Drum up, good luck. It's a very hard Pokemon to keep in check. It's super strong at +6, and it's not impossible to prompt sequences where you get setup opportunities, such as using Memento or screen support. And once that's in, well, good luck to Lanoon users, I guess. Indeedee is something that I personally voted ban on. I think again, everyone but 2 people voted to ban it. The rationale is. This is the Indeedee male form, not female form, but Spectrum Indeedee is unbearably strong and facilitates insane synergy with other mammoth threats in the tier, courtesy of Psychic Drain. Yeah. So not only does it block priority from things like the aforementioned Lanoon, but also it hits like a complete truck. It's super hard to check because of that. You gotta run Ghost types, and even then you gotta predict around it. You can run Hyper Voice or Dazzling Gleam. Sorry, I meant Dark types, not Ghost types. And on top of that, Scarf sets are really good against offense too. It's hard to keep in check, so. Yeah, I didn't think there was really any counters to it. Maybe some soft checks, but that's about it. You could run cores that can try to trap it like into the outraving and move to lock into, but that's about it. We already touched on Drought, but there are some other things that are worth discussing. Boyer, I think it's going to be really good in metagame, but nobody voted ban, mainly because it's overshadowed by other fighting types, and also it was a bit slower, so it really was just feeling its way out in the metagame. It's definitely going to be a staple in the times to come, though. Sharpedo, something that was previously banned from RU, actually got a couple ban votes, I believe, but ultimately, I wasn't sold on it. It does have great coverage moves, Surf or Hydro Pump on the special side alongside Dark Pulse. On the physical side, it can run Liquidation or Waterfall, I think, with Crunch and Close Combat. Ice Beam is also a coverage move you could use. It's able to really hit most things, but it lacks the ability to get one-shots on a lot of Pokemon, even some of the more offensive Pokemon, and because of that, it needs support, and ultimately, it's only going to get in once or twice every game, so you really got to get a sweep off when you get it in, and you dedicate your team to that, and teams that are dedicated to that just aren't consistent enough for me to believe it's broken right now, especially with the abundance of priority, and slight, offensive checks to it, so yeah, I don't believe Sharpedo is that potent yet. Same goes for Porygon Z. It hits undeniably as hard as anything in the tier, if not even harder. Adaptability, Tri-Attack off choice specs, I don't even know where to begin with it. But also, it's pretty fragile, unlike Porygon 2. And on top of that, it's not the fastest. It's definitely like average to slightly above average speed, but there are Pokemon that can pressure it. Offensive teams don't let it in a ton, and also it's a bit prediction reliant. So that coupled with the fact that it doesn't have like the most amazing coverage for say like Rock and Steel types, you can definitely keep it in check. Tyrantrum Pokemon has previously been banned from NU as well. I really have only seen a couple of them, and yeah, it hits really hard, but I feel like it's kind of no man's land where I would choose either bulkier or faster, and sometimes needs a setup turn to really compensate for that. So, yeah, choice sets are really good. It's gonna always hit hard. It's definitely gonna be a good Pokemon. I don't think it's gonna be broken in the near future at least. So I'll be curious to see how that pans out. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the entire NU slate. I think that all in all, it's a pretty good slate of Pokemon. I'm glad that Lucario and Durant and Indeedee got banned. Admittedly, I was a bit more on the fence about Arctozolt and oh yeah, Heracross. Heracross is something I'm glad got banned too, although I was a bit more on the fence about it as well, I guess. That was like the one ban vote that I was less certain about than others. I actually thought Toxtricity was even more broken than Heracross, but to each their own. There still was kind of a limited pool of checks, so again, kind of just to conquer their effect with the Gut set and Moxie sets. I never really got to try it, and I only faced one of, so hard to say. I think what's going to be next for the metagame is still, it's going to be very offensive, kind of turbulent. Again, other Pokemon that were on this slate, such as Poltergeist, Toxtricity, Slurpluff, Lanoon, Beware, Sharpedo, Porygon Z, Tyrantrum, and I guess Shiftry and Nonstone teams, although it's not really as big a threat. Still roaming free, still going to be residing in the metagame, coupled with a lot of other Pokemon that dropped. I mean, there are a ton of Pokemon that were like, oh my god, this is NU, no way. But yeah, I mean, here we are. That is the time we are in, and it's crazy. I'm going to be preparing to look Davin for the NU Championships this week sometime, I guess. So it'll be very interesting to see this metagame pan out. I'm really curious to play it. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And on top of that, I'm really excited to see the new metagame. So yeah, if you guys want to see NU live and more NU content, be sure to hit that like button. And in addition to that, if you guys have any thoughts on the new metagame, definitely let me know in the comment section below, as I'm really curious. Everything's still developing in front of our eyes. Admittedly, I wish I had a little more experience, although I still have a pretty good feeling about these Pokemon. It's just the whole metagame is like a large entity I don't really have the same feel for, if that makes sense. And in addition to that, if you guys want to see more, be it lower tier content, NU content in particular, or just content in general regarding competitive Pokemon, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to stay in touch, check out the Twitter or the Discord server, links will be below. And have a great day, guys. Yeah, I know times are rough. I know a lot of stuff's going on, but be sure to really just stay in touch with yourself, do what you want, it makes you happy. It's what matters at the end of the day. And stay safe above all else. Root for everyone here, all my friends. So yeah, but all right, guys, peace out. Bye-bye. Have a great day.